Well, I am at Gwynn's Island, Virginia, and we're at the Gwynn Island Museum with none other than Goober the Traveling Bear. Well, let's go on inside and see what they have here and learn about history in another small town museum. And this one is admission to the museum is free, but they are entirely dependent on contributions. Well, we are inside Gwynn's Island Museum. Mr. Tom is over here.
Howdy.
And he said we can go ahead. Which way should I go? Right to left or left to right?
Your choice.
Okay.
All the same.
Man, a lot of stuff here. So, and we got to get out of the way. We have some tourists coming in.
Welcome, YouTube.
Hi there. How are you?
We've got a YouTube video.
All right. We are going to start with the back room and work the other direction. But I saw a beautiful diorama here. Okay. Dunmore must be crushed. Okay. The Battle of Cricket Hill. We got some really neat artillery shells, cannonballs. These small museums have so many wonderful artifacts. Okay. The battle between the American forces under Andrew Lewis on land and the British fleet under Lord Dunmore in the vicinity of Cricket Hill, Matthews County, Virginia. Okay. A lot to see here. Descendants of Thomas Elliot Edwards and his 4 wives. Okay. So, Walter Gwynn Huggins. All right. Well, let's go into the back room. This museum is throwing me off. There's a lot here to see. I didn't expect this. So here we have the standard pastime of general stores and everything else. Checkers by the stove. Now here's the island market. They have audio-visual program going. So here's the items of the Scroops Country Store, 1930s. Wow. I'm amazed how many country stores I've videoed in the last 3 months here in Virginia. And also in New York and Pennsylvania and Maryland, come to think of it. You know, they were the Walmarts of the day. Here we have the post office box. Okay. I'm Not a Postmistress. Diana Shea from Lewisburg, West Virginia, tells a story on her visit. Her grandmother was postmaster in a small coal mining community at Bretts, West Virginia. It was in the 1960s. She received official notice that all female post employees were to be called postmistresses. She was highly offended and fired off a letter to the postmaster general saying she was postmistress to no one. From that time on, all postmasters, or male or female, were called postmasters. I did not know that story. So here, once again, at the small museum, I've learned something new. All right. As we continue our adventure here in the back room, we have Civil War buffs. This sports coat, 1880-1890, belonged to Reverend Giles Cook, priest in Episcopalian priest in Virginia, Matthews, for many years, graduate of VMI, Virginia Military Institute. He joined the Army and attained the rank of major during the Civil War, served as aide-de-camp to Robert E. Lee, and was General Robert Lee when they surrendered. Wow. His son, John Warren Cook, was born in Matthews and was active in politics for many years. Really neat. I'm amazed at the history that this little museum has. There's some campaign hats. I believe that's a Navy pith helmet for the Seabees. A lot to see here, and my focus is off. I apologize. A lot. Okay. Let's cruise along here. Well, this is interesting. This stained glass window was originally installed in the Gwynn Island Baptist Church before major renovations occurred in 1980 and 81. All right. It's nice that they could save that. Here we have a writing desk. All right, we're heading over to the one big piece of East Lake headboard, that's for sure. And of course, every museum has to have dowels. These aren't too creepy compared to some. Very nice. All right, let's what's nice about this little museum is everything is out. No glass causing any issues with my camera work. 1871 beaded jacket. Wow. I think this would be a mourning veil. Of course, that mourning, if you've seen Gone with the Wind, for instance, mourned for a year roughly in the Victorian age. There's the office. They have a nice collection of spinning wools. Okay. I got to take a look at that mantle clock over there. Okay. And of course, we did find a couple creepy dolls after all. So once again, Goober does not like creepy dolls. All right. I still haven't found a creepy doll as creepy as the ones in Kinston, North Carolina, but there's still time to find other creepy museum dolls. So here's our mantle clock. Shelf clock formerly owned by Mr. Harry Forrest of Gwynn Island, donated to the museum by his daughter Mildred. Daughter Mildred Whitcomb. I'm sorry about the pronunciation. And here's a beautiful quilt. And of course, if you go to my channel, you'll find that I have about 6 quilting museum exhibits, all the way from Vermont to North Carolina. They have some more examples of quilts down here. Okay. And here, some incredible lace work. And really, really interesting display case. This display case came from the general store at Calais Wharf and is estimated to be over 100 years old. Even the display case is an antique. Okay. Now, once again, things you can find that's the coffee grinder. And I get a lot of people say, what are those things when I have them in these videos? And you put the coffee in the top and grind it. And This one's a corn grinder, not a coffee grinder, but they look quite similar. My mistake? Lightning rod on Grandpa's barn. Well, believe it or not, but the Gwynn's Island Museum has a second floor. We're going to go ahead and go upstairs. So there are other people in the museum, so we won't interfere with their learning about history. Boy, they sure have a lot in this museum to look at. 1890s corner cupboard from the out kitchen of the Charles Edwin and Louis home on Barn Creek Road, I guess. All right. Well, I'll pause the camera here so I don't kill myself going up the stairs. Okay, we're upstairs of this incredible museum, and this is a humpback whale skull. Really cool. And Middlesex Museum has some whale bone things. I forgot now. I think it's as big as this. A lot of family history here in this museum. Stingray Point light. All right. Almost overwhelming as I look around. They have fossils here. Whalebone vertebrae. I'm going to try doing just a very slow panorama view just to give you an idea of just how much is in this museum to visit. I mean, okay, so military history, just incredible. All right, we're going to go left to right. Okay, as we continue, the Gwynn's Island Museum, Mr. Tom there. He's very knowledgeable, by the way. It's we're going to be left to right, fossilized clam shells. All right. Boy, if you're into the prehistoric age, seahorse found 1993. Roman artifacts. Gwynn's Island and the Roman connection. Gwynn's Island is named after Hugh Gwynn, who landed at Jamestown in 1610 and came to the island in 1611. Welsh origin. Now, I'm not going to read all of that and have you get bored, but you need to come out here to Gwynn's Island near Matthews, Virginia, and see all the history they have here. And Mrs. Reed Larson said I had to get out here and make a video. So we listened to her. And we have a school. Here's a school desk. Now, I told someone the other day, my school desk, all of them, kindergarten through third grade, it still had an inkwell in it. I remember later on our elementary school got new desks finally. So let's find out what this teacher's doing. This outfit was worn by principal and teacher Mrs. Josephine Brown at the Gwynn's Island School, located at the Cultural Center is today. Okay. By the way, there's a really cool picture of the classroom with the little heads of the students cut out. That is neat. And they have the names of them. Boy, a wonderful, wonderful museum here. Then they have the Dick and Jane books. Oh my gosh. I remember those when I was in school. And then we have a couple inkwells. All right. Well, we have more really cool giant clam. Gilbert's Clinging's Gwynn's Island Boat Yard. Well, the history of the watermen are so important here. Very nice display. And they have from drawing board to finished boat. The tools needed to build the boat. Antique tools. And here we have a goober-sized sailboat. Scale model of the Chesapeake Bay skipjack built by Frank Powell of Gwynns Island in 1950 for his grandson Matthew. Wow. Very cool. Now, if we just turn this way, and again, the fishermen, watermen are so important in this area, especially oysters. The Mary M. Let's see who built the Mary M. The Eddie Tyler Smith family history. Really amazing. Okay, we'll pan over here next. Now those big, they're ice. I believe they're to pick up ice. And then we have some ships here. And well, here's our military area. Well, really neat. Okay. Japanese rifle. And of course, we're getting a little glare. There's a German Mauser up at top. JD of History Underground would be interested in this case. Notice the stock. And of course, this Franco-Prussian rifle, the Swiss. We have a flintlock pistol over here. French flintlock holster pistol. Okay. We have a World War I lightweight summer jacket with the 29th Division. Really cool. Moon, Virginia. Well, got a German helmet, campaign hat. Quite a bit here to see. We have our different military helmets, caps. Those World War I collars, man, they had to hurt your neck. They're so stiff. And here we have a gas mask. Pause the camera here. Well, I believe this is a 43 officer summer dress uniform, U.S. Air Corps, pilot rated. Okay. We have a heavy overcoat. So we move over here, we have World War I American helmet, World War II German helmet, got a gas mask. There's the canister, the German canister for the gas mask. We have little miniature ships here. Thomas G. Mangrum Sr., World War II, Korea, civilian service medals. And he has some rockers. What a career he must have had. As we continue along, we got United States Marine Corps. Chesty Puller is not too far from here, up in Middlesex, Virginia. Probably 20 miles if that. Well, this is interesting. Merchant Marine. Now, Major Eric, retired, good friend, and war gamer. He was in the Merchant Marine, and then ended up in the Army later. Really neat. They have this full line flag donated to the museum by Mrs. Winnie Bornham. There we go. A lot of merchant marines lost their lives in World War II to U-boat attacks. Sort of an unsung heroes of World War II, transporting needed supplies to Great Britain and Russia. Well, here we have the HMS Endeavour. Look at the rigging on this. I don't know if it'll come out on the channel or not, the video, but someone spent one heck of a lot of time on the rigging. Here we have another sailing vessel. And here we have the USS Constitution. Built in 1797. Built in Baltimore in 1812. We swing around to this side. All right, here's our information I was looking for. The USS Constitution, the world's oldest commissioned naval vessel, still afloat. She was launched in 1797 from Edmund Harriet's shipyard in Boston, Massachusetts. She protected American merchant shipping during the Quasi-War against France in 1798, and she helped defeat the Barbary pirates in the First Barbary War. Okay, beautiful ship, incredible rigging. You have to have one heck of a lot of patience to do all that string work. Well, I think we've hit a lot of the upstairs. Let's go downstairs now. Follow me. Well, there's one staircase to come up and one to go down. So let's go down a bit. And I see a Captain John Smith in Jamestown. Now, Deltaville, there is Stingray Point, where I believe Captain John Smith got zapped by a stingray. Okay. I'm going to pause the camera here. Okay, we're back at the ground floor. We're going to go right to left of the main room. And so much to see here. It's coming along here. But look at that washing machine. Let's do a little 1894 Columbia rotary washing machine. I bet when he brought that home to his wife, she was so happy to see that. Now, my father would talk about his mother using those irons still. He was born in 1907, so I'm going to try to turn gently to hit this side. And here we have the corn. You throw your corn cob in there, and out comes your feed of corn for your livestock. And then they have, now, here are the very, very important rocks grinding tools. Native American. Look at these collections. Now, Dennis McKibben, Native American historian, would love to see this display case. All right, let's, I don't know a lot about arrowheads, so that's up to you to research. Okay. And over here, wow, 200-year-old paper backing. Of course, we have some Victrolas. Antique medical instruments from the estate of Dr. J.W.D. Haynes of Matthews. Surgical equipment, it looks like. Wow. Very, very, very interesting to have all this in one display case like this. And again, you could spend quite a bit of time here. Antique spectacles. Now I have some glare here, but I'll do what I can do. Very neat. I don't think I've ever seen a collection of eyeglasses like this in a museum before. Okay, we'll pause our camera here. Okay. Wow. There's the original Viewmaster right there. I had one of those with Boer War cards, but long since no longer have them. We got some old time cameras. With the thanks and appreciation to Mr. and Mrs. Hayes Allen Jr. for donating this building in loving memory of his parents. Wow. Mr. Hayes Allen and Helen Allen of Gwynn Island, Virginia. Well, there is Henry. And I got to cruise over here. And here is, there we go. We got his wife. Very good.
Okay.
Well, Goober found this incredible little skull cast of saber-toothed cat, which lived everywhere in North America, from 65 million years up to 12,000 years ago. Now, Goober's happy he's not running into one of those.
Well, you won't need it.
So,
You won't need it for a couple of weeks. You're not going to
they have a beautiful exhibit,
Anyway,
the story of Gwynn's Island here. Really neat.
I was going to ask him to read the directions. And
How's Gwynn's just got a lot of material in this museum. Well, Gwynn's Island Museum also has really cool shirts for sale to help support the museum, and they even have a small library of different books: Gwynn's Island's Times, Arrowheads of Virginia, Matthews County, and a lot more. Now we're going to ask Mr. Tom if he'll tell us about this special item they have here in the museum next. So we're going to go talk to him next. Well, what do we have special here at Gwynn's Island Museum?
We have the oldest stone tool ever discovered in North America. It is called the Sinmar Discovery. It is a stone butcher knife, and it was found with the remains of a 22,000-year-old Mastodon. In this display case here are the Mastodon upper molar. That is the portion of the Mastodon tusk, and this is a replica of the Sinmar blade. This is a picture of the actual blade, and the story is as follows. A Matthews County waterman was dredging for scallops out in the Atlantic Ocean right at the edge of the continental shelf. He's about 45 miles east of Cape Charles when he came up with one dredge haul, scallops, a Mastodon upper molar, the tusk, and the multi-bladed, the stone handheld butcher knife. This is the vessel that was used. It's called the Sinmar. The Shackelford family of Hampton had a seafood company. They had two children, Cindy and Mark, and this is their first vessel, Sinmar. Now, their second vessel, in honor of the boy, is Mar Sin. Just to tell you, they want to be fair. Well, where did the stone blade come from? It came from the South Mountain Wildlife Quarry. The Smithsonian scientists went to that quarry and determined that the chemical composition and mineralogy of the Sinmar blade is exactly the same as the rock available at the South Mountain Quarry. The red line shown here is a hiking path. Hiking path starts down one of the drainages of the Potomac River, meets up with the Potomac River, comes on down. That's Washington, D.C. now, and right to the junction of the Susquehanna River. And the hiking path would continue down to junction of the James River. 45 miles further was the discovery. I tell you this because that red line is a 200-mile long hike. And what is a mystery to me, why did the Paleo Indians 22,000 years ago leave their best butcher knife at the site of the slaughtering of the Mastodon? I always will wonder about that. Did another tribe come that wanted that Mastodon and they fought them off? Or look over here. This is the cast of a saber-toothed cat. Saber-toothed cats roamed all over North America, and a pack of those cats would love to make a big meal out of that Mastodon. The Mastodon twice as big as today's elephants. Mighty a lot of good food there.
But Mr. Tom, question. Is a woolly mammoth the same thing as a mastodon?
A woolly mammoth were roamed in North America, but no, they were much bigger. And but this was definitely a mastodon. For the mastodons and woolly mammoth remains have been found many locations in North America. There were no woolly mammoths though in Europe. Only mastodons have been found in Europe.
Wow, your museum is wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting Goober and I visit. Would you like to say anything to close this video out?
Well, if anybody sees anything of interest, they'd like to come and get to see it up close and personal, they're welcome to come to this museum. Admission is free, and we're glad to see you.
All right. Well, Goober the Traveling Bear, he sure learned a lot from you today. And stay safe, everyone. Be kind and be courteous.
Thank you. Bye now.